And Ross Simpson have been friends and neighbors for over 35 years. Their houses, side by side, front on the old Chippewa Creek, actually a fast-flowing river that runs into a hydropower canal above Niagara Falls. As he approaches his 70th birthday, Ross Simpson leads an active life. But in 1986, he was 62 years old and was just recovering from extensive heart surgery. His wife, Millie, was making certain he rested. They were spending quiet times together. Evenings were spent relaxing, looking out at the river, listening to the distant roar of Niagara Falls. On a clear night, they could see the mist that rose above the falls. 74-year-old Tim Quinn often joined them to see how his friend was getting along.
Just in time for tea, eh?
I grew up within 50 yards of this river, and I've lived here all my life, actually. When you were young, the possibility of getting a job or making a few dollars here or there was just zero, because you think times are hard now. There's no such thing as, well, there's no industry or anything, so you just couldn't get work. So we swam. That's all we did, swam.
I learned to swim in the Niagara River. The fellows I'd run around with, we used to go over the bank in the river and go down by the rapids and swim down there. It was quite dangerous, but that's what you do when you're young. At one time when I came home from work, I swam in the creek every night before supper. I was quite an active swimmer in my younger days, but I don't swim as much as I used to.
Is it a good place to go?
I heard a seagull screaming. At least that's what I thought it was, a seagull, because they do scream. And they said, "Ross, doesn't that sound like somebody in trouble?" And he said, "Yes, Tim, it does." He said, "Someone may be in trouble."
Over there.
Tim didn't know who it was or how they came to be in this predicament, but he did know how many people had drowned in Chippewa Creek during his 74 years. There was no time for hesitation. Ross Simpson was under the strictest orders from his surgeon to do nothing even remotely strenuous, but it was not in him to just stand by. Ross followed his friend down to the river, unsure if he'd be able to help, but knowing he wanted to be there if he was needed. 74-year-old Tim Quinn raced into the river fully clothed. But even if he managed to fight the current and reach the drowning woman, would he have the strength to get both of them back across the current? Or would he lose his own life for a stranger? The Chippewa Creek was about to claim another victim. 74-year-old Tim Quinn wasn't about to let that happen. Responding to a cry for help, he swam towards the drowning woman being swept downstream. The current was making progress difficult, but he was determined to keep going. Tim's friend Ross Simpson anxiously watched from shore. He could see that Tim's effort was taking its toll. He knew his friend would soon need help. Tim's strength was failing. It was all he could do to keep the woman's head above water. The current had them both.
Help me swim, I'm real tired.
Ross was cautioned by his doctor that he was not to exert himself at all. And we've been very good friends for years and years. And he just couldn't just stand there and see me possibly drown, because I was in trouble, believe me.
Ross managed to reach his friend before he was swept downstream out of reach. Together, the two friends headed for shore, dragging the woman to safety. Millie was frantic, terrified that her husband's exertion would cost him his life.
Timmy, he was pretty well spent. He could hardly walk. And by the time I got the two of them to shore, I was pretty puffed out myself. I was short of breath because of my medical problems, I guess.
I couldn't even lift my legs. I was so exhausted, just completely spent. The story that I got right after it happened was that she was walking along the shore. A lot of the shoreline is quite steep, and in some spots it goes straight down about 20 or 30 feet. Apparently she was walking beside the river and lost her balance. By the name Creek, and it's a mighty big creek. It's 40 feet deep, and I suppose it would be 300 or 400 yards wide. There was lots of people drowned in this creek. When I got across to the person, I could see it was a lady. I said, "Don't grab me." See, the tendency is, when anybody's drowning, is to grab something. And if she'd have grabbed me, two of us could have drowned.
I walked out as far as I could, and then I swam out to them because Timmy was having quite a time. Anybody that's a swimmer knows it isn't that easy to swim with your clothes on and a pair of shoes. As they were still out in deep water by the time I got there, I took a hold of the girl's T-shirt to drag her ashore. Timmy was swimming along beside us. I had heart surgery, but it didn't concern me, it didn't enter my mind that I shouldn't be in there in the first place. You just do these things on the spur of the moment.
Towards evening on July 25th, 1986, 62-year-old Ross Simpson and 74-year-old Timothy Quinn, upon hearing cries for help and without thought for personal safety, rushed to the aid of a 17-year-old girl who had slipped, fully clothed, from a rock into the Welling River at Chippewa, Ontario.
For their heroism, Tim Quinn and Ross Simpson were each awarded Canada's Star of Courage by the Governor-General.
I don't look on myself as a hero, no, I don't. Because I think any person, providing they're physically capable, you know, good swimmer, whatever is necessary, if they can save a life, they're obligated to do so, as I see it.
If anybody falls in the creek and they can't swim and I'm around, again, they better learn to swim in a hurry. Because I'm not sure I could do it again.
Obviously, heroism is not limited to the rash decisions of youth. Ross Simpson and Tim Quinn's courage serves as an example to all ages. And I'm sure Tim's son, Alan, would agree. The same year his father received the Star of Courage, Alan Quinn was awarded the Medal of Bravery for his part in the daring rescue of scores of people trapped in a flooded village in northern Ontario. Like father, like son. A man recuperating from heart surgery risks everything to help a friend pull a drowning girl from the river. A climber throws himself off the top of a mountain to balance his partner's fall and stop him from crashing to his death. Ross Simpson, Tim Quinn, and Bertrand Briot knew the threat to their own lives if they acted. And yet, despite this, each found the courage and did act. Courage that made the difference between life and death.
Hastily put together benefit album. Ladies and gentlemen, rock for Michael.
Oh, I've seen magic and I've seen bird.